I call this meeting of the Northeast Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The time is 5:30 p.m. The board will now adjourn into executive session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Texas Government Code Section 551.072, discussing purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. 551.074, to discuss personnel or to hear complaints against personnel. 551.076, discussion regarding security devices or security audits. And Section 551.071, private consultation with the board's attorney. And the time is 5:31. The board will now convene in open session, and the time is 6:20 p.m. On behalf of the trustees, I would like to welcome you to this evening's meeting of the Northeast ISD School Board. This is a business meeting of the board held in public. We appreciate your attendance and request your respectful attention. We welcome your comments during the matters from the floor section of the agenda, or if you signed up to address a specific action item, you'll be called at that time. We'd like to emphasize that this is a business meeting of the board, and while those in attendance may disagree about issues, it is our expectation that everyone will conduct themselves in a respectful and professional manner, and we ask for your cooperation in avoiding disruptions. But most importantly, I'd like to remind you that it is the mission of Northeast to challenge and encourage each student to achieve and demonstrate academic excellence, technical skills, and responsible citizenship. Item number 5, Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. A, Montgomery Elementary School, Principal Terry Click.
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed members of the NEISD Board of Trustees, Dr. Micah, executive staff, and honored guests. I am TJ Click, the proud principal of Montgomery Elementary School, home of the Mustangs. It is my pleasure to be here tonight to introduce 2 of our outstanding Mustangs who will lead us in our invocation and pledges. These 2 individuals are a model for what it means to be a Mustang. They're always motivated to do the right thing. They are always on task and complete their work. They are a wonderful example of nurturing positive relationships. They are looked upon as trustworthy on campus, and they are a shining light of you control you, or exhibiting self-control. These are our Mustang characteristics, exactly what our campus mascot always looks for on campus. Leading us in the invocation tonight is Leilani Ivy. Leilani is a leader on campus that all of our students look up to. She's a true Mustang, as she has attended Montgomery from pre-K to 5th grade. Leilani is a member of our 5th grade strings program that practices at Ed White. Leilani is a member of our campus music club that performs at special occasions on campus, like our 50th anniversary this year. She's a leader on our campus elementary showcase event. Coach Lerma consistently used Leilani to be the example of how to compete our program. She leads our morning patrols with putting the flags up and assisting with car drop-off. Leilani was a member of our campus ROTC club that presented the colors for our Veterans Day program and our 50th anniversary celebration. Leilani is excited to attend data at Ed White next year. She's accompanied tonight by her mom, Ashley Ivy. Please stand to be recognized, Miss Ivy and Leilani. Leading us in the pledges this evening is Seth Vargas. Seth is another one of our true Mustangs on campus, as he has been at Montgomery from kindergarten through 5th grade. He's an active participant in the Gemini Inc. Writing Club, where he enjoys being able to be creative and let his imagination run wild through his words. Seth is a member of our GT program on campus as well. He's an active member of our campus ROTC program and music club that performs at our special events. Seth is a leader of our safety patrol program and assists our Mustangs with campus dismissal every day. He's excited to attend CETA at Intruder next year when he begins middle school. Seth is accompanied tonight by his mom, Veronica Vargas, his dad, Seth Vargas, his sister, a 3rd grader at Montgomery, Isabella Vargas, and his brother, a 1st grader at Montgomery, Sean Vargas. Please stand to be recognized. I would like to invite Leilani Ivy up to lead us in our invocation this evening. Leilani.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Leilani Ivy. I'm a 5th grader at Montgomery. As we gather for this May meeting, we pause for a moment of reflection and gratitude. This month marks a season of tradition and a time when students, family, and educators look back on both of the year's growth and ahead to the promises of what's next. It's also a time to recognize and honor those who make the growth possible. Last week, we celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week. We offer our deepest thanks to the educators in Northeast Northeast ISD. Their dedication, compassion, and tireless efforts shape not only the minds of our students, but also the hearts of our entire community. We are grateful for their impact. As we begin tonight's meeting, may we be reminded of our shared missions to serve our students with integrity, fairness, and wisdom. May our discussions be thoughtful, our decisions be guided by purpose, and our hearts remain focused on the success of every child. Let this meeting reflect the spirit of gratitude, collaboration, a commitment that defines this district. Thank you.
I would like to invite Seth Vargas up to lead us in our pledges.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Seth, and thank you, Leilani. I'm excited to see where these two amazing young people go with their education and their lives. I'm certain they will continue to be positive leaders to their peers and colleagues throughout their lives. Thank you again, Leilani and Seth, for always being amazing leaders that you are. Congratulations on almost finishing 5th grade, and good luck in the future. We will miss you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Click. Seth, Leilani, if y'all want to come up front for a picture with Ms. Shelton and Dr. Micah. Parents, you're welcome to stand up and take a photo as well. Mr. Click, get in there. Thank you all for being here. You're welcome to stay, but you do not have to, so you can leave whenever you want to. And you only have like another 2 weeks of school, so use it well. Thank you all. All right, we'll go item 6, recognitions. A, President's comments and acknowledgement of special calendar events. This week, May 11th through 17th is National Police Week, so thank you to Chief McCampbell and his staff for what they do on a daily basis. And next week, May 18th, is National Speech Pathologist Day. I had to say that slowly, so I didn't get that wrong. So, item B, Student Volunteer of the Year.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Micah, executive staff, and guests. I'm Jennifer Taylor, the volunteer coordinator for our district. I'm excited to present the 2024-2025 Student Volunteer of the Year on the behalf of the volunteer program. The recipient of tonight's Student Volunteer of the Year award is Rochelle Barrera. Rochelle is a senior at Legacy of Educational Excellence High School. Before that, she attended Fox Run, Steuben Ranch Elementary, and Nimitz Middle School. This year, she has volunteered and dedicated more than 648 hours to her school and her community through the organizations she's involved with. Most notably, Rochelle volunteered with the Assistance League of San Antonio, where she decorates hats and makes stitch dolls for cancer patients. She has been a part of this program for over 3 years. The CAPS Chair program receives at least 50 hats and 5 dolls from Rochelle each month that gets donated to the University Hospital. These small but meaningful gestures bring comfort and joy to individuals undergoing difficult medical treatments. Rochelle has demonstrated a deep commitment to others in her community. She also has volunteered through organizations through her school like NHS, PALS, and STEM Ambassadors. Rochelle is an exceptional young lady. It was a pleasure to interview her. She is looking forward to attending the University of Texas in the fall, where she wants to pursue a career in public health. She is here tonight with her principal, Mr. Escamilla, her mother, Carmen, her uncle, Jorge, and along with the Assistant League of San Antonio. Rochelle, you want to come up? Congratulations for the Student Volunteer of the Year Award.
Rochelle, congratulations. If you come forward and take a picture. Congratulations, Rochelle. All right, item C, Do the Right Thing Essay Campaign winner. Who's presenting that one?
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Micah, executive staff, and guests. Northeast ISD annually participates in the National Essay Contest titled Do the Right Thing, Stop the Violence. Bush Middle School grade 7 student Hussein Ibrahim was recognized on May 6th for his writing by the Honorable Judge Antonia Arteaga. For the 2024 Do the Right Thing, Stop the Violence essay campaign, Hussein is named the second place regional winner from Bexar County. His essay was selected by a panel of judges and other elected officials from over 500 essays. His sponsor English teacher is Ms. Julie Bay, and his principal is Mr. Rudy Salinas. The Do the Right Thing essay campaign gives middle school students across the country the opportunity to write about how violence has impacted their lives. Hussein was awarded a new laptop computer and a certificate of achievement for his winning essay, which was published in a regional students' anthology. His essay will be archived into the Library of Congress with other top finalists from across the country. Thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, Hussein's siblings, and friends of Bush Middle School for being here this evening to celebrate his accomplishment. Please come forward, Hussein Ibrahim.
Congratulations. Thank you all for coming. All right, item D, UIL 6A State Golf Medalist. She's not in attendance, correct? Okay. So item E, UIL 6A State Track Medalist. Coach Parker.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Micah, executive staff, and guests. Tonight I'm here to introduce a young lady who participated in the UIL State Track Meet, Miss Julia Gonzalez from Madison High School. She is a UIL 6A State Track bronze medalist in the girls 400-meter wheelchair race. And I do believe this is actually the first time we've ever placed in this race. So I think it's a great honor for Ms. Gonzalez. Ms. Gonzalez, if you'd come forward. With her are her coaches, Coach Quentin Summers and Principal Mr. Wernley.
Yes, Julia, if you want to come on up to the middle.
And Julia is a freshman, so you may get to see her 3 more years.
Julia, congratulations. Thank you for being here. Next time we'll get our act together and let you know where you need to be so you don't have to just sit there by yourself. So, yes, congratulations. Yeah, we will see you next year, I'm assuming. So, very good. Item 7, matters from the floor. Hang on. The trustees welcome comments from members of the public during this time of the meeting. Generally, board members do not respond to public comments during the meeting, although members may request further information or a future agenda item on a matter raised during public comment. As explained fully in the board's written procedures for this time, the matters from the floor portion is a limited public forum. Accordingly, speakers may present on a topic related to district business for up to 3 minutes, but are not permitted to make 1, personal complaints about an individual staff or board member that should be raised during the district's grievance policies, 2, a personnel action, 3, a student disciplinary matter, 4, a complaint about a particular student, or 5, pending litigation. Any person who persists in speaking on these topics will be directed not to do so. Any person who persists in speaking on these topics after being directed not to do so will lose the remainder of their time to speak and may lose their privilege of addressing the board at future meetings. If you signed up to speak on a specific agenda item, you'll be called up at that time when the board reaches that particular item. Please remember that this is a business meeting of the board. Any person or group engaging in outbursts of any kind causing a disruption to the meeting will be warned, and if they persist, will be removed from the meeting. This is to ensure that all speakers have an opportunity to make comments without interruption and that the board members are able to pay full attention to speakers without any distractions. We also welcome written comments at any time, either through email at board@neisd.net or by mail care of the Superintendent's Office at 8961 Tesoro Drive, 6th floor, San Antonio, Texas, 78217. Our board secretary, Ms. Lisa Thompson, will be our timekeeper, and she'll call your number in order.
Number 1.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Superintendent Micah, administration, staff, and community members. My name is Dr. Debbie Hamilton, and we are here tonight with a group to make you aware of a wonderful opportunity for Northeast ISD students, specifically middle and high school students, and your PD and safety staff. We encourage your review, approval, and support in sharing this program with internal stakeholders beginning in fall of 2025. Prior to this meeting, this information has been shared with Trustees Shelton and Terry Shigi and Chief Instructional Officer Mr. Anthony Jarrett. The Juvenile Justice Jeopardy Program, we call it JJJ, is an educational initiative developed by Strategies for Youth, a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving interactions between youth and law enforcement. Modeled after the popular game Jeopardy, JJJ is designed to engage youth 12 to 18 in interactive sessions that educate them about the juvenile justice system, their legal rights, and the consequences of certain behaviors. Key features of this program include interactive learning, customized content developed using local municipalities' laws and ordinances, and community involvement through the Train the Trainer model and community ambassadors. The San Antonio Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, the the ladies in red back here. We embarked on this journey of bringing awareness to the school-to-prison pipeline in San Antonio in 2022. In 2023, SAC partnered with the San Antonio Police Department, Community Outreach, and the San Antonio Area Foundation and the Area Foundation's African American Fund to serve as community ambassadors to present the JJJ program to middle and high school students in the San Antonio and surrounding areas. To date, presentations have been made to churches, community organizations, youth groups, high school classes in Northside and Northeast ISD. Through advocacy by SAPD, Northeast ISD safety and security personnel embrace the JJJ program to build and strengthen relationships with students. I would like for members of the San Antonio chapter of Delta Sigma Theta to stand. They're the ladies in red, and they support this presentation tonight. Thank you, ladies. And tonight you will hear from additional speakers, and they include Officer Joel Pope with the San Antonio Police Department, Ms. Michelle Tanner, counselor at Reagan High School, and 2 Reagan students, Emily and Amanda Strock. Thank you in advance for your attention. We also have a handout for the board. We'll give it to the liaison. This is a copy of the data that is a result that was captured from the Reagan sessions that we did there. We presented to 7 ADVIT classes and 3 JROTC classes, and this is the data from that. And we also have the little brochure that our students get once the presentation is over.
Yep.
Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.
Number 2.
I'm Dr. Linda Houghton. I yield my time to Sergeant Joel Pope.
Is he, okay, he's signed up.
Thank you very much. I wish I was a sergeant. That'd be neat. I've been asked to speak today a little bit about our experience with the juvenile justice program as it relates to SAPD. My friends back here, who we've had many opportunities to give this juvenile justice Jeopardy program to kids, has just been fascinating. The 3 things that I wanted to mention as it relates to the San Antonio Police Department and policing in general is the relationship that we get to develop with the kiddos. And it is a honor, and it is sometimes very difficult to have interactions with kids that are not, enforcement related. So this gives us an opportunity in a nice, calm environment to get to know kiddos, reduce the fear, and then also transfer information back and forth that can be very, very important when it comes to justice involvement for our youth. The original program was developed by the San Antonio Police Department in cooperation with Judge Shaw and then the Juvenile Justice Department at Bexar County. And what we did was we picked the top 3-tier items that we thought were, well, not that we thought, that we gathered from data that were most important to keeping youth from being justice involved. And we included those in the game. I think the 2 salient points that I like about this game are, number 1, it's customizable. So we do currently use it with multiple school districts. We do use it with San Antonio Police Department stakeholders, but each and every time it is customizable. And I think that that's the most important piece of this Juvenile Justice Jeopardy game, is that it can be tailored to your individual needs. The 3rd and final point that I'd like to make is that when this game is played, the data collection is an important piece, and I think we'll all agree that data is important. If we can see that when the kids come and play the game, their misconceptions of the law, their misconceptions of their interactions with the police officers, those are relayed in a survey in the beginning. We play the game, and then we ask the same questions again in a different manner, and we can see through the data that there is definite an education piece going on here in a fun game environment. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Very, very good product. We will continue to use it at SAPD, and SAPD will continue to support groups. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 3.
All right, good evening. Hold on. All right. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Micah, executive staff, and attendees. My name is Michelle Tanner, and I've had the privilege of serving as a school counselor in this district for over 20 years. Over these two decades, I've witnessed countless changes in our students' academic, social, and emotional needs and challenges. But one trend has been particularly concerning: the growing number of young men and women being imprisoned or placed on probation. More frequently than ever, I find myself referring students to our campus police officers, not because they're in trouble, but because they have real, urgent questions about scenarios they're witnessing or involved in. These aren't hypothetical situations. These are everyday realities for our students, many of whom don't always have a trusted adult who can give them accurate answers, and I surely cannot. That's why I was more than happy to bring the Juvenile Justice Jeopardy to our AVID and ROTC classes with the approval of Dr. Reiniger. This program is not only interactive and informal, but uses real, relevant scenarios to spark meaningful discussion. We took care to ensure transparency. Permission slips were sent home with the explanation of the content, and parents were invited to review all materials within a 5-day window. Students without written permission were given an alternative assignment, and for those without slips, they called home quickly to have us talk to their parents to allow them to participate. Once they found out, oh, this is going to be fun. Okay. But let me be clear, this is not a game in the traditional sense. It is a powerful, eye-opening tool that helps students understand the serious consequences of their actions. It tackles common misconceptions they pick up from social media and TV, two of their biggest teachers, and replaces those myths with facts. It addresses what happens when you're hanging out with somebody committing a crime. It explains what it really means to have a juvenile record. And it encourages critical conversations about their own choices and responsibilities. Even more impactful, when this workshop is presented in the community, adults are just as surprised and educated as the students. And that speaks volumes, because we hope that our parents will be the first educators, but what they don't know doesn't get sent to their students as well, to their own children. This is about being proactive, not reactive. It's about prevention, not punishment. And it's about equipping our students with knowledge before they find themselves in situations with life-altering consequences. Respectfully, I ask for your continued support in making a space for real-world preventative education like Juvenile Justice Jeopardy. Because when we teach our students the facts and the rules, we protect their future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4.
Hello, my name is Amanda Strock. I'm Emily Strock. We both had the opportunity to participate in this game, Juvenile Justice Jeopardy, in our AVID class, which is a career and college prep class, with our lovely teacher, Ms. Newberg, who's sitting in the audience. Yeah, so basically the game, like Ms. Tanner said, we got a permission form, so it was very consensual. We got to have like papers that asked us questions, maybe what we thought laws were, and then we played a game. We went into 2 separate groups, and we played like a friendly competition game in Jeopardy. It was super helpful to learn. I felt like as I was going through, like, I thought I knew the answers, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's not right. So it was super helpful on all.
We think it's important that kids understand, like students understand, the laws and the consequences of their actions, because it's very real. And I mean, this game really just helped us understand better just the things that we aren't taught, just because I guess it seemed like we should have just already known, but we just it was great that we were able to have the opportunity to learn more about it. And this is a great program that we hope will be spread around the district, and it's a great opportunity for us to learn.
Yeah, I felt like as I watched like everyone play the game, like our peers just felt more like interested than other games, because it was like you had to try to guess the answer, and it wasn't like super hard, but it was like fun to learn, and it's like real things that are happening. So yeah, we think this program has great potential, and thank you for listening to us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay. Number 6. Yeah.
That's me to wrap up. I'm sorry. Just want to say thank you for your time in allowing us to present this, and I want to emphasize to you all that this is
ma'am,
free,
we have
no
to move
charge
on to
you.
the next speaker. I'm sorry.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
though. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Good evening, President Byer, Board of Trustees, Executive Staff, and Dr. Micah. My name is Teresa Hurd, and I'm a proud paraprofessional in NEISD. I'm also the current Vice President of Educational Support Professionals of Northeast Education Association. We know the district is under serious financial pressure, and we truly appreciate your efforts to protect both the quality of education and the well-being of all staff. While we recognize that pay raises may be off the table this year, we ask that you consider some thoughtful, realistic ways to better support your employees, especially paraprofessionals like myself. One of the biggest ways you could help is by freezing healthcare insurance costs. For many of us working in support roles, any increase in premiums can be the difference between financial stability and financial stress. Me, especially, I had to give up healthcare so that way I could pay more bills. I do have vision and teeth, gotta see and eat, but that's one of the things I had to choose to give up. It was just too expensive for me and my family. Many of us also depends on KINs and pre-KIN programs to care for our children while we're serving this district. Reducing those costs would help working parents like myself and make NEISD a more family-friendly place to work. Additionally, I want to highlight the need for classroom supply reimbursements to be extended to paraprofessionals. We're often buying materials out of our own pockets, just like teachers do, because we care deeply about our students and we want to help support our students and our teachers any way we can. All of these ideas, whether it's more support for certification costs or stipends for CDL training, show the well-deserved respect for the staff who go above and beyond every day. These steps would go a long way in helping paraprofessionals feel recognized, valued, and motivate them to stay in this district. Thank you for listening and for your leadership during these challenging times. I'm grateful that we can continue to work together to provide a safe learning space for our students and support all staff as we look towards the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Micah. My name is David Anderson, and I'm here tonight as a proud NEISD classroom teacher and a NEA union member. First, I'd like to acknowledge the financial challenges our district is facing, and I thank you for your commitment to maintaining high standards of education in NEISD despite these difficult times. As teachers, we understand that a raise or retention stipend may not be possible right now, but we believe there are still impactful ways and creative ways that the district can support and retain educators. Freezing healthcare premiums, as Teresa said, for example, would provide the real financial relief for many of us. With inflation and rising living costs, even keeping insurance costs stable could make a meaningful difference in our take-home pay. We also suggest that teachers who are asked to cover additional classes due to substitute shortages be fairly compensated. This extra workload contributes to burnout, and paying teachers for their time shows that you value their flexibility and dedication. Another key issue is the classroom reimbursement. Many teachers spend out of their own pockets every year to give students what they need. Increasing the reimbursement amount, as well as including paraprofessionals in the reimbursement, would help meet our students' needs without personal strain. Finally, we urge you to consider reimbursing costs for teacher certification exams. These fees are a barrier for many aspiring educators and current educators. Supporting professional growth is one of the best ways to ensure a strong future for NEISD. These ideas are practical and cost conscious, and they also send a message that NEISD values and respects its educators. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your continued leadership.
Thank you.
Number 8.
Good evening. President Byer, members of the board, Dr. Micah. My name is Tom Cummins, representing teachers and support personnel for Northeast AFT. As you're aware, the governor has signed the voucher bill, which means less money will be available for public schools. The Texas House has passed a budget, House Bill 2, to the Senate that has not moved on it. It's been frozen for 2 weeks in the Senate. The basic allotment increase in HB 2 is only $395, while an increase of about $1,300 per student is needed just to keep up with inflation. We're asking our members to call their senators to act on House Bill 2, as the Senate should be doing right now, but aren't. We're asking the Senate to increase the basic allotment by $1,300. That is a stretch, but that's what the goal should be. So far, as far as we know, NEISD has not told the legislature the amount of money needed to provide a quality education. Neither have superintendents nor have various board members across the state or various school board associations spoke up and said this is what we need to provide a quality education. In fact, the Texas Association of School Boards at one point has said that a $1,300 increase is probably not needed, which we obviously disagree with. TASB needs to tell that to the parents whose neighborhood schools are being closed and to teachers and support personnel who are underpaid. Then TASB would be singing a different tune. State Representative Gina Hinojosa has called the school officials, quote, pleasant, unquote, in their public approach to funding, but they needed to voice their concerns publicly as much as they do in private. Both Senators Donna Campbell and Jose Menendez represent NEISD. Senator Menendez supports a larger increase in the basic allotment, but so far Senator Campbell does not. While it is probably too late for this board to act as a group, please call both senators in your individual capacities and let them know the needs of NEISD. And be sure to let your constituents know where both of these senators stand. Next week, the NEISD budget discussions begin. Regardless of what this legislature does, you as a board will have the responsibility of providing much-needed pay raises, keeping schools open, and ensuring high-quality educational programs. Please be a voice for the students and employees of NEISD, even in these very difficult times. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8, matters from executive session. A, personnel including but not limited to administrative appointments pursuant to Government Code Section 551.074. 1, possible action regarding routine personnel including but not limited to administrative appointments. A, Director of Special Education, Secondary Curriculum and Instruction. Do I have a motion to approve as discussed?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Villarreal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Item 9, presentations. A, Intruder Detection Audit. Dr. Micah.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we discussed in closed session this evening, we had 9 campuses that had been visited for a door audit check from TEA since our last meeting, and all 9 were clean audits. I want to thank those of the folks at their campuses that helped ensure that our doors are locked and remain locked. That's all. Thank you.
That's always good news. Item B, Campus Consolidation Update. Ms. Chancellor, or is it Dr. Micah? Ms. Chancellor.
Hi, good evening. I want to give an update from the last time that we all met. Work continues on the consolidation process behind the scenes. So here are some of the things that we've done since we last met here. Human Resources continues to meet with employees about placements at their campuses. So they go out to their campuses to let them know about those. On April 14th, 16 employees received placements at Clear Spring. 20 employees at Driscoll Middle School received their placements, and 21 employees received their placements at Wilshire on April 16th. On April 25th, 8 employees received their placements at Clear Spring, 6 employees at Wilshire, and 9 at Driscoll. So that process does continue. On April 17th, staff walked Garner Middle School so that they could understand the needs that they'll have there when they welcome new students to their campus. On April 22nd, staff visited the Welcome Center at Perrin Central to review the assets located there at the NETS facility. On April 22nd, records management, guidance services, and data processing staff all went out to Clear Spring so that they could coordinate student and financial records destruction and also storage for the end of the year. Any inactive data processing files have been picked up by guidance services, and then active data processing files have been left there at the campus so that they follow the new students to wherever that they go. April 23rd and 25th, boxes for personal items were delivered to Driscoll, Clear Spring, Wilshire, ACE, NETS, and NEAC. On April 25th, staff went out to Wilshire again to coordinate the financial records destruction on that campus as well. April 29th, an email was sent to Driscoll, Clear Spring, Wilshire, ACE, NETS, and NEAC, to let them know instructions and then labels for when they're packing up their personal items at those facilities. On April 30th, staff walked Northwood in order to determine what needs they are going to have at that campus in welcoming new students there. May 1st, an email was sent to current magnet program families within the Driscoll Middle School boundaries to announce a new bus program that we're implementing. It's a registration process for next year that will actually allow any of those families who are going to Driscoll Middle School to catch the shuttle there. They will still be able to drop off there if that is more convenient for them. So an email was sent to let them know about the pickup and drop-off location options that were now going to be made available to them. On May 1st, more placements were made, this time 4 more employees at Clear Spring and 3 employees at Driscoll Middle School were added to that list. On May 6th, staff walked Driscoll campus to understand how NETS and ACE will be relocated there, and then they began to identify any needed improvements that will be done. On May 7th, staff reviewed the Garner bus loop location in preparation to add additional buses there next year and to develop a plan to relocate those buses. An update on school choice that is ongoing. As of May 7th, 298 school choice applications were received. 289 of those have already been approved. 9 are currently pending. Of those, less than 5 were given their second and third choice options. So the vast majority got the first choice that they wanted. Also ongoing, pupil personnel services continues to respond to parent calls regarding the school choice process. As of May 7th, we have received 9 emails and 15 calls for that. Special education and Section 504, no new parent requests for individual meetings have come in at this point, and parent discussions do continue as needed. On May 9th, the magnet school bus registration information that I told you about just a second ago, that was also posted to the website and social media, just making sure that everyone's aware, and it will continue to be posted throughout the next month or so. On May 9th, more human resources placements were communicated. 2 more employees at Clear Spring and 4 employees at Driscoll received their placements. And an update for you, and this will be a little bit different than what you have on your paper because we just got an update right before the meeting started of an additional placement. So right now, as of 6:30 this evening, of 198 employees, 147 have been placed. So right now we're looking at about 74% of all of the employees that needed to be placed have been placed. And specifically when it comes to teachers, 95 of the 96 teachers that need to be placed have been placed. And we're working obviously on that last remaining teacher. And then the last thing that I'll share is on May 12th, records management staff sent ACE labels for Iron Mountain storage and end-of-year destruction at their campus. And obviously we're here to answer any questions that you may have about the last few weeks.
Good. Thank you, Ms. Chancellor. I will open it up to questions. Ms. Did you have one?
Well, I don't have
And
a
then Ms.
question, but I just want to compliment you on all the moving parts and pieces that you're working with and taking care of our families. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Ms. Shelton?
Yes, this continues to be my favorite document every month, so thank you. It is very well done. Question, Ms. Chancellor, for our parents that are going to have the new, have to register for buses, so we did that on May 1st. They got an email, and then we started posting it on social media. How can we ensure that, I want to just make sure that those parents get it, right? I triage my email, I don't always get it. They may miss it on social media. How do we make sure that those kiddos that are going to need that bus get registered for that bus on time so that they know where they're going first day of school and we don't have any hiccups with those guys?
So we have isolated those particular families. So the
Okay.
email was just sent to those specific magnet program families first. So that was a direct email. I understand sometimes people don't check their emails. So that is why we are posting on our website. We're also posting on our socials, and we're also posting on the magnet program social campuses as well. Social media campuses as well. So we're going to do that, and I can refer to Deb as well. I would assume that we will likely send out another reminder, and she can probably take it from here about the transportation.
Thank you, Mrs. Chancellor. Yes, the magnet program directors are directly communicating with families through their newsletters and things like that.
Okay.
And on the back end of the registration form, we are tracking which students we have not heard from. So the directors have a timeline that they have been asked to follow to check to see if they have students who have not been registered to actually make phone calls. Our goal is to ensure that those who register who need bus service will get it. And one of the things that we did with the form is we actually are asking all families to complete the form. So even if you don't need bus registration, let us hear from you so that we don't think you're forgotten out there and that we are taking care of you. So even for folks who do not respond, there will be a phone call made, and their answer may be, we don't need bus service, and we're going to register that too.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the attention to detail.
Ms. Cox?
Hi, I just wondered, could you elaborate a little bit on what sort of improvements were notified or identified when you walked the Driscoll campus?
So as we're walking campuses, we're finding out from principals what issues they may currently have. Maybe it's a restroom that's not working. There's also situations where there might be a need to change door access. Maybe there's a new proxy tag that's needed in a certain area. So as we're walking campuses, we're identifying different things, paint, fixing of things that work orders are currently in for, so that we can start tackling that over the summer and prioritizing it. So as we're walking, each of these campuses are all slightly different.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Ms. Landry?
One question. So for the special education and 504 students, have they had an opportunity to go and tour the new campus that they're going to be attending and meet their teachers and have, I know we did individual meetings, I think you said Zoom or meeting or team.
So yes to all of your questions. So they did have an opportunity to go to the school, meet the staff, but also we had a Google form where they can sign up and request an individual private meeting as well. But many of the families, once they heard from as a whole group meeting, they didn't have any other questions, and so they opted out. But we still have that option open for those families, as well as their ARD meetings or 504 meetings.
Awesome, thank you. And I too appreciate this level of detail for the updates. But one additional question, so similar to the bus assignments, for those individuals and students who are special ed or have 504, have we heard from all of them, and are we doing any kind of multi-point communication plan for those families as well, to ensure that they all get the information that's pertinent.
So I'll ask Vanessa to come up. I know they've been in constant communication, but she may be able to elaborate a little more for you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Yeah, so we have campus program coordinators that work individually with each of these campuses. They're following up with the parents. They're asking, is there anybody who's been asking specific questions? Do they need to speak with us? A lot of our students have their transition arts this time of year, which allows us that opportunity for them to ask other specific questions or concerns parents may have. So we've been available across the board for all of that. And they're looking at classes, what classes are we going to take? Parents ask questions about that specifically as well.
Okay, and so we're positive we've got every communication aspect covered, that none of the families are going to feel.
Well, what I can say, we've made ourselves available. We've sent out multiple points of contact. The campuses do not hesitate to reach out and say, hey, a parent shared a concern. We have things that go through Blackboard, like for all of our students specifically, like when we're looking at Special Olympics, we have things that go through that type of communication as well on a daily basis. And then we also have the Facebook pages and things that we share information through.
All right,
So we will be following up with a lot of our parents as we end the school year to ensure everything's in place. The campus coordinators on each of the campuses and the ones that support are making sure that there's specific materials to a child that's getting transferred over. We have all these conversations this time of year. That's something that we typically do, and we're ensuring specifically for the kiddos going to new campuses, including those that are working on school choice, the ones that are assigned to Garner. We're working through all of that to ensure that's in place for them as well.
All right, thank you.
Nice thing.
Ms. Villarreal, you have a question?
This is kind of a subjective sort of thing, but are you finding that the parents are a little more comfortable with this process? Are they understanding a little bit more about what's going on and feeling a little more comfortable with it? With your
Who are you directing that at?
I just, anybody who can answer the question. I'm just trying to figure out who has primary
Sure.
contact with parents when they call in. Is it
Ms. Villarreal, I think what I would tell you is this process has been like the grieving process, right? And it's been hard. And I think ultimately we can't answer that question until the new year begins to see how families settle into that campus, right? What we're trying to do is do everything in our power on the front end to make this as smooth as possible. None of these communities asked us to consolidate a school, right? So what we have to do is make sure that we deliver on those deliverables that we said we would, and make certain that we communicate out and do all those things. But ultimately, and Ms. Chancellor and I talk about this often, folks have to interact, though. Communication's a two-way street. We can be sending stuff out, but you also have to do some things in return for us. You have to respond to that email or go to that post and do it, because otherwise we're just talking, we're not communicating. And so we need everybody to participate in it. But I think, to our point, we figured out a way to do magnet busing a little bit different to help some families. So we've been trying to address what's within our locus of control to help this at least be a smoother transition as possible for our families. They're nodding their heads, so I think they agree with that. Because we're all of us are interacting with people differently. I mean, I've interacted with some of those parents that have said, look, we understand, and so far we appreciate all the different things, right? And there's still some folks out there, I'm sure, that are still upset, and that's to be right. I mean, to be normal. Folks are all going to come to this at a different pace, but ultimately we're going to control what we can control, and that's what we've taken, to use control again, taken control of, right? Is focusing on those things.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
Oh, Ms. Landry, you have a question?
Do we have a system in place, a phone system that, like an auto dialer that sends mass communication to phones? I know a lot of school districts do.
Every time my daughter
I
is
just wanna-
absent, yes.
Yes, is that what you mean? Is that an automated call or?
Right, an automated call. Do we have an opportunity to use that to contact these families, and just with a blanket generic message to say, the school year's ending,
you're identified as a family that's been impacted by the school closures, and if you have any concerns, questions, things that haven't been addressed, talk to your principal, and if you still have additional questions, call this number.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. We certainly have the capability to write any message that we want and then have it be an automated text, cell phone number, email, et cetera. We can cover all of those bases for sure. I would say that I'm certain that the principals at those campuses have been doing that regularly, but we always have many options in the way of communication.
Yeah. And so one thing, Ms. Landry, that each and every principal meeting, those principals at those impacted schools actually meet. Sometimes it's been with me, Mr. Jimenez. Sometimes it's with Ms. Caldwell and Mr. Jimenez. Sometimes it just depends. So we're constantly communicating with them. What have you heard? Is there something we need to address? What's coming up? Because what we're trying to do is stay on top of it, again, to try to make that transition as smooth as possible. So we haven't taken a blanket response. I think everything we've done is very targeted and very specific, because that's what took us a little bit of time to roll out some communication. Is we wanted to make certain that it went to the right families and not create chaos and confusion. Because for some of these, when you looked at Driscoll, a percentage of Stahl Elementary was going to get impacted. And we needed, I want to say geofence, but that's not really what we did, but something like it. We literally went in and had to make certain that we were sending that communication right. Because what we didn't want is a family to get it and go, hold on, I didn't think I was impacted. And now we've created a different response. So I think we've found at least that the more specific targeted communication has been better, because we're not doing what I would call a shotgun approach to it. It's very specific to that individual area.
And in things like this, big impacts, there's always something that falls through the cracks, inevitably. And I just think that that's a good way to ensure, and no harm if, you get the message and I don't need anything. But if we've already been very specific on who we're targeting for the other things, maybe it wouldn't hurt for us to do one campaign to say, we think we've got you covered, but if we don't, just reach out. Right. I mean, we've already identified them, so targeted dialer.
Thank you all for doing the bus registration, because I heard that several times through the public meeting, so that was great that we could try to offer that. And I guess we'll see how it goes over the next year, and but I think it's a good offering. Ms. Caldwell, I did want to ask, I know you've just recently relatively recently done a lot of these walkthroughs. Are we already setting schedules on when these improvements are going to go, or is it we're going to all do all these kinds of improvements at one time, or are you going to go school by school, or how does that look?
So each time we go and do a walkthrough, it's almost like we're creating a punch list of the things that need to happen. We're identifying with our maintenance team those areas that need to be done. Some work's already been done. Clear Spring has already had some work done in preparation for welcoming NEAC. Some painting has been done. So between our current night crews, we've been able to schedule some improvements. Other work will be done during the summer. So we're getting done what we can now that's not disruptive to the current campus, and then we are continuing to schedule those other things during the summer. Are
there any improvements that have to be done that we cannot handle internally? Are we going to have to contract out some of this work?
So far we've been able to identify things that we can handle internally. At this point, that is our goal, is to handle as much as we can with our staff. We have not yet had a need to contract facility maintenance or go that direction.
Yeah. Do you foresee have you seen an improvement that is larger than we anticipated, I guess?
No, I mean at this point, with the programs that we've identified, we're going to be in good shape.
Okay. For the teachers, or the, I'm sorry, staff in general, not just the teachers. I heard we have 95 out of 96 teachers placed. And then you threw out, I don't remember the numbers, but there was 74% of staff that were placed. And so of the 26% that has not been placed, what percentage of that is actually need a home versus retiring or whatever the, you know?
Yes, so of that percent, 9% have actually indicated their intention to resign or retire for various reasons, retirement, some are also moving. So remaining, we have 31 individuals, and that will include individuals that might remain at those campuses, to include like custodial services and food service. We also have a safety specialist that we're still awaiting an assignment for, as well as some SPED itinerant staff. Now those staff, although they're perhaps assigned to those campuses, they often throughout the school year, each year, are reassigned based on the needs of those students. So those decisions are still working through like the ARDs and needs of kids that they will need to serve in the upcoming school year.
Okay, great, thank you. I just want to make sure we know the numbers of people that are still going where, and so, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And the last question I have is, or I guess statement, I assume we've been told at the beginning of this, and I think I mentioned it last month, we've threw out a number that we're going to save approximately X number of dollars per school, right? I would like to make sure that we see at the end of this, or as we get through the summer, if we have an idea of where we stand versus what we thought we were going to be. Because I think that's one of the pieces. I know the last couple of months have been a little early because haven't gotten into all the assessments with the facilities. We're still trying to place teachers, still looking for home for staff, figuring out bus routes. So I think it would be important to understand that we're checking ourselves and where we stand financially with that as well.
And Mr. Byer, Susie and Dan and I have discussed that sometime in August, or I'm sorry, in the fall, we'll be able to bring you some concrete numbers about what we actualized. All right.
Sure.
But it's not going to be until then, as until it all kind of folds out, then we'll have some pretty solid numbers, because I promise you Susie's computing it.
Yeah, and I would even say in the interim, if there is something that we did not foresee, did not understand, that we raise that flag now and bring it to us and let us know, so that we're not blindsided in the fall for some reason. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen, but I think we'd all like to know that sooner rather than later if it came to that. So
Yeah. The only thing, Mr. Byer, at this time that was unanticipated, I guess, is moving some very specific things like a deep freeze or things like that we didn't anticipate, that we're trying to figure out how to deal with. But at this time, I don't think there's anything else that's arisen that we've been unprepared for or unexpected. But if it comes up, I'm going to make sure to notify you all.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right. Thank you all very much for the update. And as Ms. Shelton said, she looks forward to this one every month. So, not looks forward to, that sounds worse than I mean it. But anyway, thank you all. All right. Item C, legislative update.
Yep. Mr. President, I ask our Director of Government Relations, Mr. Bywaters, to come back with this month's update of nothing but good news, correct?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Micah. It's excellent to be in front of you again this evening. I wanted to start off by thanking y'all for some of the feedback we've received on my weekly update. If there are any bills that y'all specifically would like tracked or need summaries on, feel free, let us know, and we're happy to get that to y'all. So I wanted to give kind of a quick overhead summary of what we have left time-wise with this legislative session. We have 21 days left until June 2nd, which is sine die, the last day we can constitutionally pass legislation in Texas without a special session. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the House and the Senate can go as normal until that date. There are deadlines, specifically in the House, that are rapidly approaching. First deadline that we have is actually today. A House bill that has not been referred favorably out of committee after, I guess, this evening, it dies. So it no longer will be, allowed to continue. So we're watching that pretty carefully. Thursday is another big deadline, so that's going to be second reading deadline. So if you have a House bill that has even been referred at a committee, reported favorably, but hasn't been heard yet, it dies on Thursday evening. So as a result, the House specifically is insane. They've had full calendars for the last week and a half or so now, weekends included. Just today, there's 400 bills on the calendar, and clearly they're not going to get through 400 bills, right? And so that's just about every day. So I say all that to say there's a lot of legislation that will not be on the table anymore after Thursday. So that's something that we're really paying attention to and seeing which bills survive, which bills die. And that's specifically in the House. I want to point out the Senate is pretty different. They're able to run a little bit closer to normal just because they have a supermajority and can suspend their rules as needed. So that's what we're looking forward to right now on kind of the overhead angle. I want to give a quick update about some priority legislation that we've seen, starting with the Texas two-step, SB2 and HB2, which we've all heard quite a bit about. In case you missed it, Senate Bill 2 was signed into law not this past weekend, but on May 2nd at the governor's mansion. It was a huge celebration that has happened, and we will have an ESA program coming, not this upcoming school year, but the next school year, 26-27. HB2 was referred, which is the big school finance bill out of the House, was referred on April 28th, and we are still waiting for a hearing in the K-16 committee. Now, the good news is the Senate and the House are negotiating. I believe their intent is to try and avoid a conference committee on this. So, I mean, just working together to try and hammer out a number so they can come to their respective chambers and get that passed out before those deadlines hit. But as of right now, we do not have an announcement on a deal. I know the two chambers, respective heads of that K-16 and Public Ed committee have talked, and they've publicly talked about their willingness and intent to work with each other, but we're still waiting on that front. So that's where we are on HB2 and SB2. HB4, which was the big accountability bill that we all heard about, actually was heard on the floor of the House today and passed almost unanimously with one member abstaining, or not abstaining, voting against. But that bill is quite different than it was when it first was filed and we first started looking at it. Originally, it was a big, almost punitive bill, kind of punishing districts for the lawsuits regarding the A through F accountability system, gave the TEA quite a bit of leeway in changing some of the indicators that we use to measure the A through F accountability system. That bill right now in the House has been turned into essentially a complete overhaul of the STAR test system. I mean, they have thrown that test out, at least in the House version, and replaced it with an assessment. It's not a MAP test, but similar to a MAP test in the sense that they have 3 assessments at the beginning, the middle, and the end of a school year, and they measure growth and try and get results back rapidly to the students, the teachers, and to the schools to correct some issues and, you know, all the accountability stuff. So that's where we are with that bill, and it did pass today, the House. The Senate side has an accountability bill, like a lot of these other things, that is very different. It's much more like the original HB4. And it's important to note as well that a group of business leaders from Texas, and there's some large names on there, Frost Bank, their president specifically, the list is available, released a letter to the public calling for some pretty, what did they say, rigorous accountability standards within the public school system. So you have 3 sides, and we'll kind of have to track on where that lands, but with the business community more on the Senate side with that, we'll have to check it. But it is very clear that the House has an appetite to overhaul STAR, and that did pass today, so that's something that we're watching and tracking. I will kind of speed through the rest because I know I'm taking too much of y'all's time. House Bill 19 is another one that we're watching, and I know I've flagged in a couple of these legislative updates. But this bill is in the Ways and Means Committee right now, and it's one that targets political subdivisions in a sense where it really limits the amount of debt service that they can pass. If it's 20% above, the average property tax, the debt service at least is 20% of the collections of property tax in an area, they can't do it, right? So essentially, it significantly hinders a subdivision's ability to issue debt. That one's one that we're watching, one that doesn't just impact school districts. We're talking counties, cities, really any taxing entity is really watching this bill. Now, the good news is that bill has not been, it's been heard in committee, but has not passed committee. We're at that deadline today. So unless the committee goes, and they could do this, but if they break from session right now and go vote on it, it could pass, but theoretically that bill should die this evening just because it hasn't been reported favorably out. Now that doesn't mean the language can't survive because it can be taken by the author and amended onto another bill that's on the floor that's germane. So we are checking for that, but that's where we sit right now with HB 19. And then just some of the popular pub ed bills that we've all heard about. SB 12 is coming up on Tuesday. That's the big parental rights bill that we're watching. HB 6 was heard in Senate K through 16 last week, and that's the big Chapter 37 rework that's already passed the House, but now needs to pass the Senate. SB 13, which is the library bill, kind of creating these parental councils that go over libraries made up of parents in these school districts. That bill was left pending in public education and was heard, but was not voted on. So then the House Pub Ed Committee, along with SB 27, the Teacher Bill of Rights. So neither of those got a vote, but were heard, and we kind of expect those to be voted out relatively quickly. SB 260, which is the big school safety allotment bill, that there's a Senate side and a House side, and they're in committee. But those two bills do actually significantly increase school safety funding for schools. That's in conference committee right now, but we are watching that and thinking those will pass. There's some appetite on both sides to get that done. So certainly we're watching that. And the last thing is, not the last thing, but the last thing I'll mention is Senate Bill 19, which is the taxpayer-funded lobbying bill. That is a bill that essentially limits political subdivisions' ability to use public funds to either lobby or pay fees or join an organization that lobbies, a nonprofit organization that does hire lobbyists. So that's one that we're watching. That one right now has passed the Senate. It's in the Ways and Means. It's in the State Affairs Committee in the House. It also hasn't received a hearing yet, and there is some chatter that the chairman of that committee is not a proponent of that issue. So we're watching that one, but there is some good news on that front that we're not entirely sure it will continue moving forward. But definitely, once again, another thing that can be amended onto other bills, and we're watching for that. But as of right now, that is the status of SB 19. So I know I took too much of your time. I could keep talking, I'm sure, for 20 or 30 minutes about a lot of different other priorities. We're expecting a big fight about synthetic THC coming up in the House. We're expecting a big bail reform fight coming up as well. Not necessarily education-related issues, but those are going to be in the headlines in the next couple weeks as top priorities for leadership. But I'm happy to take any questions. I once again really appreciate you listening. And
Jacob,
yes,
thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate the update. Ms. Chigi has a question.
So this may be too much in the weeds, but you said Frost Bank was pushing rigorous accountability system.
Well, it's not necessarily the bank itself, but I believe their president signed the letter.
Okay. So I feel like we have a pretty rigorous system, especially if you compare it to the private schools that are going to be receiving voucher money. More rigorous, or keep it at the same, or do you get a feel for that?
I believe they're referring to the current A through F accountability system that TEA uses. I probably wouldn't be the one to speculate about what exactly they would like out of it, but that was our understanding, is that they're referring to the current
Ms.
state.
Chigi, they made 3 points on it. One was to keep the A to F rating because it allows transparency. 2 was to not allow any non-academic indicators to count in accountability. And I think they listed like extracurricular. If you would like, we can give you a copy of the letter that they sent, because it was to the governor, lieutenant governor, speaker, and the Speaker of the House, correct?
Yes,
sir. Who received it. And so there's we'll send it to you so you can see the names and those folks that signed on, and then see those 3 things. I think it's really advocating to keep the system we currently have. Not, correct, but also not adopt what the House passed today, which was through testing, so.
Right.
Ms. Cox.
I just want to say thank you very much. You answered all my questions. You did a really great job, and I really, really appreciate your weekly legislative updates. I think it's extremely important for people to know what's going on in Austin. For SB 19, a political subdivision, is that like TASB or what, explain that so people
So,
understand.
by and large, it does include TASB and TASBO just because they fall under that nonprofit organization that primarily works with taxing entity political subdivisions. But listed in kind of statute, subdivisions are school districts, counties, HUD districts, cities, folks that can levy a tax on citizens. But they those organizations are also wrapped up in that because if your primary clientele is a subdivision, they're listed in that bill as not being allowed to pay public money for dues or fees for those organizations.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions for Jacob, Ms. Villarreal?
I just have one because when I read your letter and are they trying to say, because they were saying, because I know that it's what I was told is we are in a kind of a co-op with TASB or something with our electrical. Is this true? Or something about that? No?
No.
Okay. I was told that by a previous board member.
Nope.
Okay. So are they trying to separate us from TASB and make it so that we can't, for example, we go and get our learning and things like this, our credit hours and things like this from TASB. So are they trying to separate us from that?
It's difficult for me to speak on intent of the legislature. I would say that what they are trying to do is eliminate a district or any political subdivision's ability to spend taxpayer dollars on registered lobbyists, is how I would say that. Their exact intent, I mean, it's on record. They had a hearing last week on a separate bill regarding organizations like TASB. I would once again not want to speculate on the intent, but it does seem like they do have some issues and would like to reform how TASB is able to operate.
Okay, that's how I read it, so I was just kind of verifying. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions for Jacob? All right, we appreciate your update again. And we'll look forward to your weekly emails for at least the next few weeks. 21 days. Item 10, superintendent comments. Dr. Micah.
Thank you, Mr. Byer. I've got some pretty good things to share this month. So I'm sure you have seen either our website, Facebook, Instagram, the local media. It's been all over the place, but which is awesome. Roan Forest Elementary School music teacher Matt Trevino just won a statewide HEB Excellence in Education Award during a recent ceremony in Austin. Mr. Trevino was honored with the Leadership Award, earning himself $10,000 and a $10,000 grant for Roan Forest. 16 teachers in Texas were earned the What a Teacher Award from Whataburger, and Northeast had 3 of them, which was awesome. They got $1,000 for their classrooms. Marcella Lemus from Almas Elementary, Hannah Norman from Castle Hills Elementary, and Katie Philbrick from Data at Roosevelt. Their efforts and wins also earned their campuses lunch from Whataburger for the entire staff. I'll let y'all know when they're coming. That's right. We'll just have to show up. Reagan High School JROTC team. I don't want to read that one. That's over here. Sorry. Last week we celebrated our amazing teachers during our annual Teacher of the Year ceremony. Rosa Carrillo from Stone Oak Elementary was named our Elementary Teacher of the Year, and Leanne Henderson from Johnson High School was named our Secondary Teacher of the Year. If you were watching your screen before, we were running some numbers and things. Last year, we talked, and there was a piece on our screen about Avid, and last year they earned $20 million in scholarship offers. So the 2025 Avid seniors, once again, were 100% accepted to either college or the military. So that's 2 years in a row. Instead of $20 million like we had last year, this year they earned offers of $33 million. And 50% of them will graduate with honors. So the Reagan, Johnson, Churchill, and Roosevelt JROTC programs recently competed in the All-Army and National Drill Championships in Daytona, Florida. The Reagan Armed Drill Team captured the All-Army National Championship. In the unarmed division, it was an NEISD sweep, with Reagan placing third, Churchill second, and Roosevelt winning first. NEISD has the unique distinction of having both armed and unarmed all-Army national championships. And then I had the pleasure on Saturday, Miss V, you were there with me, of participating in the JROTC Review and Recognition Ceremony, where over $5.9 million in scholarship awards to our cadets were announced. The ceremony also recognized 22 senior cadets who made the commitment to enlist in our armed forces. And I got to end, because it's not on here, Colonel, but our cadet of the year is a young man, a young colonel from Johnson High School. He accepted an appointment to West Point. All right. Now, hold on. Yeah. So, what amazed me is what that award, how much cash that is, or in value, right, Colonel? $500,000 to that young man. I mean, it's incredible. And he is, y'all, I got to sit with him. He is a great young man. So, Colonel, thank you for what you did this past weekend. It was great to see, and congratulations to all those folks that we announced here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Byer.
Very cool. Thank you, Dr. Micah. It's always great to get that update and see what everybody's doing, so that when we get bogged down in things about legislation, we remember what the students are doing out there. Item 11, new business for possible board action. A, instruction and campus administration. 1, possible action regarding approval of employment contracts. Mr. Jimenez is not here. Forgot about that.
It'll be me. I'll ask Miss Witten to come to the podium. I'm
Dr.
sorry.
Micah.
Mr. Jimenez has a senior this year.
Yes, he does.
So he is doing senior things. So, Miss Witten.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Micah, executive staff, and guests. Each year, in accordance with board policy, we present to you the renewal of employment contracts for identified employees. The list of eligible employees and their contract for the 25-26 school year has been provided, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have regarding this item.
Thank you, Ms. Whitten. Yeah, we were all provided the list of contract renewals. Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve as presented to us?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Villarreal. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Ms. Chigi. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item B, consent. 1, business services. A, budget amendment number 2. B, over 50,000 purchases. 2, minutes from April 2025. 3, or before I move on that one, there was a correction to the minutes that were provided to you. There was a minute difference on our last special meeting. We adjourned at 7:41, or we reconvened at 7:40, adjourned at 7:41. The minutes that were recorded showed that we reconvened at 7:45 and then adjourned at 7:41. So we went back and looked. It's been corrected. The document that we'll certify has the correct times in it. I just wanted you all to be aware of that. So what got sent to you in your packets was not correct. But what was signed will be correct. And number 3, end of consent. Do I have any board members wishing to pull anything from consent for discussion? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve consent?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Villarreal. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Landry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Item 12, reports. A, interim financial and management reports. B, awarded bid report. C, federal grants report. D, third quarter investment report. E, open records request report. Those were all provided to you. And sure, which one?
About federal awards.
Federal grants report? Yes.
So I have a question. If the Department of Education is going away, how are we receiving this these federal funds?
Good evening. The majority of our federal funds are enacted in code. So whether or not the Department of Education is there, they're just a manager. And those funds can be managed by other departments within the federal umbrella. So the big ones that everyone worries about most of the time, IDEA, which is the one that helps significantly fund our special education program, and Title, which helps our higher poverty campuses. Those are both in code, and again, if the Department of Education were to be completely dissolved, those should be funneled to other places to manage. That's not saying that they can't do something within the boundaries and restrict how we spend those funds. There's still things that they can do to manipulate or change how the behavior is today, but they would actually have to pass law to change the authorization for those. And so they could always budget it differently and reduce that budget. They can do a couple of things, but at this point in time, we're not hearing those kinds of things, and those programs really service so many children that it sounds like there's a lot of support for it. We are notified that we will end up dissolving one of the federal grant programs that we have. It's one on the sheet I misquoted you earlier today. It's $500,000. It's a refugee migrant grant that was done through Catholic Charities, through the bishops. And so that is one program that looks like it will be ending. But that was not managed, it's not in code. It's not like the other big federal programs that we have.
Can I? So do we not service those children? How do we service those children?
I think I'll have to hunt.
So, I mean, obviously, we service all kids. So when we have grants like that, that is to enhance our support services and deliver to kiddos. And so with these dollars shifting, then we have to just shift our practices and still service kids that are enrolled in our schools. These were things that allowed us to partner as part of the refugee grant program. And when that shifted at the federal level, then we had to shift what we were doing and really cut ties with the program, because we don't know what will happen down the road, and we also don't want to over support when we don't have the resources to do it for all our kids.
Good, okay. Item 13, discussion and possible action regarding board members' requests for items to be placed on a future agenda and/or requests for reports from the administration. Do I have a trustee? Yes, Ms. Villarreal.
Okay. The people that came in about the juvenile justice Jeopardy game, I am intrigued, all right, about this. Is this something, and I don't know if I need to put this on an agenda, you know, to have a discussion or anything, or is this something we're already doing?
Mr. Jarrett's going to meet with them.
Okay.
So he got it this morning. We're getting ready to close school and have 8 graduations, right? So once that ends, he's going to meet with them and then come back to it. We got to work through some things to see in the law, does that have to go to SHAC? Does it not? Where does it fall? And different things. So he'll work through that, and then we'll bring back something to you all with an update.
A promise
Okay?
of circling back?
Yep.
Because I
Oh,
was
yeah.
fascinated by that. Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Ms. Landry?
Okay, and just to touch on what Ms. Villarreal was saying, I too am intrigued, and I think it's of value for our students and community, especially when they're so focused on social media and stupid challenges, that having an opportunity to teach them how to interact would be great. Is there an opportunity for us to have a small visual presentation on the
Yeah. Again, once we get through and he's able to meet, we can bring it back to you all and let you know where it is. Absolutely.
Okay.
No problem at all.
Awesome. And then my second thing is, for the young man that was awarded for the Right Thing essay, can we have access to that essay? Can somebody send it to us so we can read it?
You betcha. We will get you a copy.
And that's all.
I think that's a great request. Thank you for asking that.
I was hoping to.
Any others? All right, seeing none,